What is up, YouTube? Emerald Dragon Steed here, and today I'm coming at you with a video about trade scammers. Specifically, one that I have had a personal experience with, and that's going to be Yugioh Rescue Hamster. I know it's kind of shocking because I know he's kind of an established trader on YouTube, but I'm going to explain exactly what I mean. So, when I say scammer, I'm not talking about scammer in the traditional sense where, you send him cards and he doesn't send any back to you. That's not the kind of scam I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is what I call a trade shark. Now, what a trade shark is someone who extremely overvalues their cards and extremely undervalues your cards so that they're getting a whole bunch of cards out of you and you're not getting a whole lot out of them. And I'm going to show you here my own personal messages between me and Yugioh Rescue Hamster to show you exactly what I'm talking about and illustrate my point here. So, this whole thing started because he commented on one of my trade binder videos, and he said he was interested in my Satellarknight Deneb, my Shaddoll Fusion, my Curry Bandit, and my Stardust Spark Dragon. So, I didn't have the Deneb anymore at that point. I had already traded it at that point. So I responded to him. I sent him a personal message, and I said, hey, I don't have the Deneb anymore, but I have everything else you mentioned. Would you do the Spark Dragon and the Shaddoll Fusion for the Inzektor Core? Now, bear in mind, Inzektor Cores have not been expensive for a really long time. Not since, Inzektors were playable back during Order of Chaos have they been expensive. And so I knew that. I knew what the value of my cards were. I knew what the value of his cards were. And so I felt like I was offering him a fair trade. Well, he responds like he's completely enraged and all, incensed because I would dare to offer him such a low trade. He says, and he responds with, hell no, you must be crazy. Stardust Spark is $10, Shaddoll Fusion is $6. 3 Super Centipedes are already $14. Now, this is where I started to get really pissed off because they're not $14. They've never been $14 in a really long time, and they're still not $14. If you go onto eBay right now and you type in playset of Super Inzektor Centipede, and you search for completed listings, even if you don't search for completed listings, you just look at how much they're posted for. A playset is not running $14. It's not running close to $14. Granted, they have gone up in the past few days, but these messages were before even that happened. So, anyways, I respond to him, and I say, not even close, my man. Check the eBay listings. A playset of Super Centipedes is sold for no more than $6. And I send him the link in the private messages for the eBay listing of where you can see the centipedes and what their prices are. And I'd say to him, those are the completed listings on eBay for their most recent sales. And then he responds with, you are crazy. Notice he doesn't deny the prices. He doesn't say, well, when I looked at it, there was different prices or anything like that, like a normal person would do if they actually thought it was that price. That also tells me that he knows it's not that price. He's just trying to get that price out of me because he saw that I was a new channel. He probably thought I was new to trading and playing and thought he was going to take advantage of it. So, and then he says, oh, I'll pass, you lowball. And it has nothing to do with lowballing. People like this it's pretty common. They will say stuff like that to throw you off, to make you think that you've offended them or you've broken some kind of rule in trading or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever. And it's just not the way it goes. It's specifically designed to play psychological games with you to make you feel bad or like you owe them something. So then I respond to him, and by this time I'm pretty upset about it. And I respond to him and I say, I suggest you take the time to learn your card prices before you go insulting potential traders. Your values are way too high. Most of the Yu-Gi-Oh community bases their trade values off eBay completed listings. If you search Inzektor Centipede Super Rare on eBay and you look under the completed listings, you will see you can get a playset for $3 or less. So don't pretend to be insulted. I have a very strong feeling you know this already and are trying to pull a fast one. It won't work. Have a nice day. So, by the time I sent that message, I was pretty pissed off because, like I said, I knew he already knew what the prices were. I knew he was being willfully ignorant about the prices. He knew what the card was worth. He wanted to take me for a ride, basically. So then he responds and he's like, haha, sure, buddy. You're saying my cards are less than $10, and you say, oh, my cards are like $15 to $20. And that part I have no idea where that came from because nowhere in the messages did I say that. All the messages I'm showing right here are my actual messages between me and him. And nowhere did I say anything about his card prices changing or my card prices changing or anything like that. And that's just another classic thing that these trade sharks will do, is they'll say stuff like that to completely throw you off and make you confused and think that maybe you said something you didn't say or whatever, and try to get this trade out of you. So then I respond with, what are you talking about? I have been saying a playset of Super Centipedes is only about $3 to $6 from the get-go. And then I said, whatever, I'm done. Sorry, we couldn't make a deal. And this is where it gets really interesting, because he responds to me with, I'm fine, I don't want to deal with lowball prices, deals off. And we never made a deal in the first place. I said, I'm sorry we couldn't make a deal because I was acknowledging we had never made a deal. He said the deal's off as if we had discussed and come up with a deal already. And that again is another tactic used by traders and trade sharks to make people think that you're reneging on a deal. You know, you're going back on what you said you were going to do, and try to make you afraid and like, oh, well, if I had made you a deal already, then I can't go back on it, and that just really pisses me off. But anyways, I'm not sure who's had it. I'm sure there's other people who have had these experiences with Yu-Gi-Oh! Rescue Hamster, and there may be other people out there who have not had a problem with him, and that's whatever, that's fine too. I'm just sharing with you my experience that I had and why you should be aware when you're trading with him of what's going on, because he obviously does not know his card prices or refuses to admit that his cards are lower priced than what he says they are, which in itself is another scam. Like I said before, it's not a traditional scam where you don't get your cards back. It's, in my opinion, a worse scam where you're getting a whole lot less than what you're trading for. Anyways, guys, just something to be aware of. I'm not really interested in trying to start a whole war here, a flame war or anything like that. I'm not going to go back and forth with a bunch of different video responses. If he wants to respond and give his opinion on it or whatever, that's great. He can tell me exactly what happened. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe it was a misunderstanding or whatever, but at this point it doesn't really seem to be. It seems like I said he was trying to rip me off, so if he wants to respond, feel free. I welcome your comment on here, but don't expect me to go back and forth with you and try to justify everything, because I've proven my side. Now you need to prove yours. Alright, guys, that's it for now. See you later.